Yeah. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see all the people who have joined now for our PJMT Green Gurukul. So I am happy to have you all. And first of all, thanks to all our organizing team and the PJMT Green Gurukul, Mr. Miss Payal Jan and Mr. Yatendra Malik, and also our panelists was Mr. Sandeep Goyal, Mr. Suresh Vasudevan is here, and Mr. Sachin is also here. So I'm happy to have you here, and hope attendees, like I can see the attendees list are increasing as we move forward for the session. So please stay here till the end of this session. We will have a great session. Great Q&A round is going to happen here. So, and we have a green ambassador also here. Miss Anshika Chahar, Mr. Vishesh Arora, and Miss Adya. So these are the green ambassador we have. We will discuss with the green ambassador during the course of the session. So let's start our session. Before moving forward, I'm just putting my screen up. And if you people are ready to participate in a one poll, I will be very happy with receiving your result. So hope my screen is visible to all the people. Just setting up a tone for the session. Uh, is my screen visible, Mr.
No,
Yeah,
no,
Anuj,
Anuj,
you are
not.
visible. You are audible and visible also. No problem. You can carry
Or
forward.
just a minute, I think so. Yeah, all right. So this is a question on my screen. What is sustainability for you? So I request all the people who have joined now, please take up your mobile phones and go to menti.com, menti.com, and use the code 36707611. Okay, I request all the people who have joined till now. Mr. Sachin, can you please mute yourself? Yeah, all right, thank you. So I request all the people who have joined till now, just go to menti.com in your browser and use the code 36707611 and put and respond on what is sustainability for you. Everyone, all the attendees who have joined, please go to menti.com and use the code 36707611 and just respond what is sustainability for you in just one word. Okay, one person is saying sustainability is survival. Anyone else? We need responses because I can see we have a lot of people who have joined in the attendees. I request all the people, please go to menti.com in your mobile browser and use the code 36707611 because the session is going to be very interactive on the sustainability point of view. So I request all the people to set up a tone of this session. I need a response from all the people. What is sustainability for you? So for the one person, the sustainability is survival. Anyone else like who is responding? I request all the people. Anyone? We are getting responses. We will get the real-time responses here on the screen. I request all the students who have joined, faculties who have joined, and the attendees right now. We can see we have more than 70 people. We have more than, and it is increasing minute by minute. So I request, hope my screen is visible, Mr. Yatin.
Yes, yes, your screen is there.
We are getting responses. Sustainability is living. Sustainability is ability to survive. Any other responses? We have to make this session more interactive so that we can take all our questions, whatever the questions you have in your mind. We will take all the questions from our industry leaders. Okay, we are getting ability to live, ability of living, continuity. Sustainability is continuity. Okay, great. We have received 5 responses. Anyone else? Great. We have responses, I believe, in the chat box also. Great. And thank you so much, Mr. Yatin. Please put on my bio in the chat box. So people who are not aware about me, I am Anuj Gupta, and you can see my bio in the chat box. And here I'm taking, I'm a host for today for you will take you through from whole the session. So people are putting sustainability is viability. Okay, all right, great. Any further responses? And then we will close this poll. Okay, okay, okay. All right. I think so. We have received of various good responses. The ability of living. I'm just repeating: ability of living, viability, continuity, ability to survive, survival, and living. All right. Sustainability is life. Sustainability is development. All right, all right, all right. We are getting few responses in the chat box. Also, own needs. Okay, Mr. Umesh is saying its own needs. Mr. Mahendra is saying that can continue to be or continue it for a long time. That's great. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in the poll. Let's start our further round of session. So, as I mentioned, I am Anuj Gupta, your host for the program, and we will have a very interactive session going ahead with our expert panelist and expert speaker. So let's start. Firstly, I would like to invite Miss Payal Jain, who is a founder trustee of Prem Jain Memorial Trust, and her career's its mission to create awareness and advocacy about the environment with focus on sustainability through education, identifying future leaders who can catalyze global development as a crusader for the environment. Her belief is to inspire the next generation to follow the path leading to a greener earth. Her passion for sustainability and her love for Mother Nature reflecting through use of natural yarns, vegetable dyes, handloom textile, hand block prints, indigenous embroideries, and sustainable work ethics and practices. So I welcome Ms. Payal Jain. She will give you more idea what is PJMT, what is D2O learning, and more about the Sanskriti University. So I request Ms. Payal Jain, please take it forward.
Thank you very much, Anuj. I'm sorry, I'll have to keep my video off. The network is a bit poor. Before I talk more, I would like to thank Sureshji for being here. And I will ask, since he, other than being the chairman of Indian Green Building Council, he's also one of our founder trustees of the Prem Jain Memorial Trust. So if I may request him to say a few words about the trust, how it was formed, and what our work has been so far. And then I'll take over from there. Sureshji, please, may I?
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to share some good thoughts about the Prem Jain Memorial Trust, which has been formed as an independent body and not-for-profit organization, and primarily after Dr. Prem Jain's legacy that has been left behind, to take it forward, all the wonderful concepts, ideas, and vision that he has got for Mother Earth India, and the way in which he had his own vision of leading the green building movement in the country in a very large way, and the type of activities that took over. The very first question that I find in this particular number one, I think the answer lies in the very initiative that Dr. Prem C. Jain took when after the Sustainable Development Goal to the year 2030 was launched in September 2015. In less than a year from there, 2016, National Building Code, we were the first one to bring a new chapter on approach to sustainability. So it's part of the regulatory framework. People should know that. Many people may not even know that approach to sustainability is already there in the National Building Code. Part 11 is already there. So that's just one among the many that initiatives. I just thought to spur off, but the trust has done phenomenally large amount of work in sensitizing public opinion, including all the stakeholders we brought in for all that he stood for. Substantial amount of knowledge series which was done, curated by Dr. Chandrasekhar, Ashish Rakeja, and various other people, including, of course, interactive session that we had. And more importantly is the annual event that we used to have in January, the Harit Prem Mahotsav that we have that between 23rd to 29th of January of every year. 26th is being his birthday, and the whole country celebrates that particular thing, the activities, including memorial addresses and other activities by various organizations who are joined along with the PJMT, IGBC, one among them. Many large number of like-minded organizations are already part of this big movement, and I'm very happy that we are having today the most important session. Payal has been given a particular credit for this nurturing these young minds, igniting their young minds, which again is Dr. Jain's vision when he started the Green Year Schools event, where all school children of various age groups up to 10th standard age group there. They're participating in the annual event there of getting the ideas among the school children being put over there. And more importantly, the annual event for the design ideas competition with the architecture school. That's where your group will be coming, where annual competitions are organized, wherein all the schools of planning and architecture participate in that particular event, bringing the best possible ideas on theme. Even this year's 2021 theme is going to be out very shortly for the Green Building Congress, going to be in November. It's an annual event. And that's again another major area. So therefore, in continuation of the Green Year School idea, that is, and then the design ideas competition for the architecture school students over there from all over the country participating. You'll have as much as 200 entries from all the schools, and that's the best possible ideas to get on, you see, and being recognized with the right level of awards for them for their own ideas on what they have. And I'm very happy, therefore, today we are having the session along with the green conservation for the students as a green Gurukul, very rightly put over there. I like the way in which Namkaran has been made on that. And I'm very happy. I'm eagerly looking forward to see not only the views of my good friend Sandeep ji, as well as my colleague in the IGBC, Sachin, looking after the Western UP chapter. And of course, Dr. Rana Singh ji, Vice Chancellor of the Sanskriti University, on their own view on some of these particular initiatives. And of course, I understand the good initiatives Sanskriti University is coming. And of course, Anuj is going to give us a good amount of link for all the good ideas. He's already put a lot of spark in the 3 questions there. I would myself like to add on my own views on all the 3 areas, because it's pretty close. Today morning only we had the session going on with the chairman of the All India Council of Technical Education, where PJMT also was associated with the NITI School of Planning, Architecture, Planning and Design, where they already have a new initiative for as Innovation Council being set up there. When I participated in that, the chairman himself telling about how to take care of the whole message to the students of architecture, planning and design. He really brought this issue very well. Not only is on the architecture as a component, but also the planning and design issues, how to be bring it in a large way. And I'm very happy that PJMT is only making all that initiatives and the wish list for of all the groups there to take it forward by getting the best possible ambassadors being brought in. Green ambassadors concept, brilliant idea again. Payalji is one. I'm sure we'll be able to see some of those here. It's always a pleasure for IGBC to be associated with the PJMT's wonderful work for taking forward the message, and we are taking in the public domain. We are getting large number of organizations who are not only in the consultants or builders or developers or more importantly from the civic society, Rotarians and other related group with whom we have interacted. So it's always been a pleasure to be associated, Payal, for the work of the PJMT, and I'm happy these sessions that we are having. One after another, we had the program where the Mysore chapter of the IGBC came in a big way, along with the Jaipur chapter. Sriram did a great job last time, and Jaimini did a good job on the water-related issues. Like that, about 6 odd themes we have taken, which has already given good sensitization among all concerned, and more importantly, getting the message to a larger audience, not the conventional one, which the Green Building Council would have done. PJMT is able to beyond that particular one, and that's where the whole work of the trustees to create awareness, create appreciation, and also at the end of the day, application in a large way as a people's movement, and wherein all the stakeholders are involved in it. And it's always a pleasure, but I nearly would have missed it having done the 2 events for Kangada event and followed by the Bangalore. I thought day is over, and rightly at 3:30 when Payal sent the message, I thought I got to join. So
yes, thank you.
I'm very happy.
Thank
I'm very
you,
happy I
Suresh.
could join and spend some time. And of course, knowing that Sandeep is there, I would not have missed it. But then all the more reason I'll get involved in there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I just want to thank Sandeep, of course, who is family, and Sachin for being here. Thank you, Dr. Rana, for your association and for our connection with Sanskriti School. I do want to mention our green ambassadors who are on this session, and they are the reason we started the Green Gurukul series. Vishesh is here, who's been part of the PJMT family for 2 years. And we have some more young kids with us. We have Adya and we have Anshika. We also have our other green ambassadors who have joined, and they catalyze the whole thought of having a interactive session with industry stalwarts and people who have made a mark in various spaces in sustainability. So the idea of today's session is to have a platform where they can talk, they can voice their questions, they can ask, and they can get answers from people like, stalwarts like Sureshji, from Sandeep, Sachin, Dr. Rana. So thank you very much. I'll hand it back to Anuj, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Suresh. Thank you so much, Ms. Payal, for a great address. And I can see whoever attendees right now, they must be inspired from your address, and I will take it forward from here. So
we have crossed a century.
Yes, we have crossed a century. So that's a great response that we have received from Sanskriti University and from across other colleges as well. So let's move on to the next part. So I would like to introduce, because without the support of Professor Dr. Rana, the session was not possible. So I'm just introducing him. Dr. Rana Singh is currently working as a Vice Chancellor and CEO IIIE of Sanskriti University, Mathura. Dr. Singh is a techno-business professional having over 2 decades of experience in the domain of academics, research training, quality assurance, accreditation, entrepreneurship, and consulting. He also has turnkey experience in setting up and promoting private universities and technical institutions approved by national, international, and regulatory bodies on turnkey basis. So I request Dr. Rana, please address our audience.
Thank you very much for such a vivid introduction. At the outset, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt thanks for conducting such a wonderful online event, especially to the Prem Jain Memorial Trust under the dynamic leadership of Madam Payal Jain. And it was also a great experience listening to Suresh Vasudevan on his thoughts about sustainability and green building. Well, as a matter of the closeness of this topic to my heart, let me share the dimension of sustainability and the entire initiatives. Well, sustainability since time immemorial in our country has been getting due share of importance. But the moment we have started taking a migration from our traditional lifestyle to the Western world, we are more getting away from sustainability. I'll take a small example from one of the countries, Fiji, which has made it mandatory for all its graduates to plant 10 trees and make them grow substantially before they get a graduation degree. So some of the small countries are taking a quantum leap and lead in terms of ensuring sustainability. And Fiji is one example wherein they have enacted a law which is to be complied by all the students. And that's something very, very generic. They understand that in 20 years, if a student is studying, he would be using a lot of books and copies and other paper products. So they are in fact impacting the environment. To ensure sustainability, they have made it mandatory. And in fact, I have written a couple of mails to the central government to make sure that we have a similar law made in our country, so that which will go a long way towards ensuring sustainability. If we look at the current crisis of COVID-19, we have seen a lot of people running behind oxygen cylinders and looking for hospitals for saving their life. But unfortunately, nobody understood the fact that why people were suffering acute crisis of oxygen and what they should be doing towards planting more and more trees so that we have more and more oxygen for people so that they do not fall short of oxygen while breathing. It did not give the required message to the people. So from this forum, I would like to share, and we at Sanskriti University, we have been doing our bit of contribution towards sustainability. And let me share from this August forum that we as Sanskriti University have been identified as Green Champion Awardee for the year Mathura for the work which the university and its students and faculty members have been doing in the past. And this award has been recommended by MGNCRE, that's Mahatma Gandhi National Council for Rural Education, which is an institution of Ministry of Education based at Hyderabad of Government of India. So that's one. Second, what we would like to talk about in terms of sustainability is in terms of the Green Building Council recommendations, which most of the Indian universities and institutions are doing as a part of their initiative to get more and more marks in NAAC accreditation process, because institutions which have IGBC certification, those institutions which have been using, or rather have been using solar electricity, have been using more and more LED bulbs, and those who have been recycling rainwater, they are getting some marks in the accreditation process. So in fact, it's a thankful gesture on the part of the accreditation bodies, which has incorporated these as dimensions for giving score to the academic institutions of higher learning, so that the institutions, its faculty members and its stakeholders are motivated to focus more and more towards working and towards focusing on sustainability. I would also like to take this opportunity to motivate all my young to make sure that they are able to contribute more and more towards planting more and more trees, recycling the used products which we are doing in academics, within the house, outside the house. We at Sanskriti University have also been focused at creating gobar gas plants for the cow dung coming out from our dairy farm, so that we are able to use and create a model, business model for others to replicate and innovate further towards making our sincere contribution towards sustainability. And I'm sure we as human beings, we need to focus on all aspects and dimensions of sustainability so that we are able to leave the planet as a better place to live for our generations to come by our sincere initiatives, by recycling the various products, and last but not the least, making sure that we are not damaging the ecological balance and we are not adversely impacting the overall ecosystem of the planet Earth, and we leave the planet Earth to make sure that it's livable with happy times in the years to come for our generations to come. I thanks once again to the organizers for organizing this and for giving me an opportunity to be part of this. Thank you very much and look forward to the wonderful deliberations. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rana. Like, it was a great, I must say it was a great address which you have just given. And you rightly mentioned we have to give this planet for our future generation also. So that is very, very important. So let's move ahead for our sessions. And now I invite our panelists for the day from whom you can ask the questions which you have. So first of all, I would like to invite Mr. Sandeep Goyal, who is a director of ProAn Consultants, and he's a building service consulting with over 25 years of networking and experience. Sandeep also contributes significantly in various disciplines of building service design and in codes. Sandeep is collaboratively worked with towards the revision of National Building Code of India in 2005 and now the 2016 edition. Sandeep, to his credit, has contributed and lead in design service of HVAC, plumbing services, electrical services, fire, life safety systems, and in sustainability aspects for varied projects from tall, mixed use, hospitality, healthcare, and other projects in commercial building segment. So I must say, if you people have any questions related to the building, because he's have a great experience in the building industry, and I can see in the questionnaire also people are asking like how sustainability can go for the healthcare industry. So we will take up those questions. And now I invite another expert, Mr. Sachin Sharma. He is currently co-founder and director of Moonbeam Global Corp, a management consulting company based out of Singapore and Gurgaon. Mr. Sachin Sharma has a master's degree in management and has experience of more than 20 years of planning, execution, construction, development, and operations of urban infrastructure projects. Mr. Sachin Sharma is also a chairman of IGBC Western UP chapter and member of various committees in FICCI, CII, PhD Chamber of Commerce. He is also a currently independent director in Mercoline Infrastructure Private Limited. He has been recognized in various area of his expertise during his career, and in year 2017, he was recognized as Real Estate Professional of the Year towards his contribution for real estate development in India. So I must say both the panelists, we have a great profile, and I must say if anyone has any questions, feel free to put in the questionnaire tab, because both the panelists will take all the questions from all our audiences as well as the Green Ambassador. So I would like to invite our couple of Green Ambassador, Miss Anshika Chahar and Miss Adya, so who are the Green Ambassador from Sanskriti University. So I invite both the Green Ambassador as well. So let's start the Q&A part. And before starting the Q&A, let me take up a few heads up in the chat box. If you people are ready for an interactive Q&A, just put excited in the chat box. I request all the audience, please put excited in the chat box if you are ready for the interactive Q&A from our expert panel. So we are getting responses. We have Harsh. Thank you. Harsh is very excited. Shikha, Suyansh, Shikha, Parashar. Okay, people are very excited. Request all the people. We have more than 90 attendees. I can say 90 people have attended this program. So request all the people, show your excitement so that our panelists will also feel motivated and will get all the questions. All right. So I request all the people, all the panelists, are you ready for take up the question? Mr. Sandeep?
Yes, we are ready.
Perfect. Perfect. So I am just putting a one question. Before moving from a question from my end, which I have received, Adya and Anshika, do you have any question from your end to ask our panelists?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Adya Agrawal, pursuing Bachelor's of Technology in Computer Science from Sanskriti University. First of all, I'm really glad to be a part of this initiative. And sir, I just wanted to ask that while achieving sustainable development, what are the problems that we can face or the challenges that we can face?
So let me start answering this question. Then Sandeep can add on to it. See, when we talk about sustainable development, there are 4 stages which we have to address. There are 4 different stages in these kind of projects which we are doing. So first is the planning stage. Second is the design stage. Then we have a construction stage, and then is the operation stage. At each stage, we have to address sustainability in a different fashion. So at a planning stage, like we have to, let's take example in the area of roughly 28 square kilometers of your municipal area, we have to define that what are the broad goals which we want to achieve, that need to be built into the sustainability architecture which anyone is developing for the city, Then at a design stage, at a master plan stage, somebody has to put a mind that how much green area do I require? So that thought process need to go into in various stages, and these are the stages where various kind of problems are encountered. So problems can start from identifying the gaps which are there in the city, identifying the resources, identifying the kind of material which has to be used, identifying what kind of machinery I'm going to use in the projects. So these are the kind of challenges which usually come when it comes to development of a sustainable projects. So Sandeep can add further into this.
Sachinji, on a lighter note, I would say the challenges are a sense of dissatisfaction of we could have done better. Always whenever we do projects, I think the spirit to achieve the goals is always exceeded as we keep attaining those benchmarks. So while I would not really say challenges, I think it would be very exciting to put in your roadmap, work on technologies. And my experience has been during the course of the project, there are solutions which get evolved to achieve the benchmarks which we are planning to do. you see, there is a point of innovation as such in the rating system itself, which gives the freedom to the designers to bring in technologies which could not have been conventionally provided in it. So I would really say that in terms of challenges, it would be more not to challenge, but I would say it would be more of the planning aspects and progressing in a very, very structured format. Because green is not only just about green, it's also about the design and also the operational aspects of it. So if you miss the operational aspects of controls included in the design, then I think we are actually missing the goals very closely. So it has to be comprehensively looked into, not at a very small level of planning, but a futuristic, scalable planning.
Absolutely right.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Sachin and Mr. Sandeep, for adding the points on Adya's question. And I have getting a request from the people who have joined. Can we have a discussion on in Hindi as well as English? Yes, because these are the students and they're asking, putting a request. Can we have a Hindi and English so that they can get more idea what is going ahead? So, Anshika, do you have any question for our panelists? Anshika, you are on mute. Do you have any?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. I'm Anshika Chahar, pursuing BTech from Sanskriti University, and I'm very happy to get this opportunity. So, my question is, how can we promote sustainability development?
Sustainability development.
How can we promote sustainability development?
Sachin, I think you can on supplementary.
Yeah. So when we talk about promoting a sustainability, let's start from your campus itself, that how you can promote sustainability in your campus. So it has to be looked from two perspectives. One is your personal perspective, that as a person, Anshika, what you can do to promote a sustainability. And second is, what are the activities which you can carry inside your campus? So let's talk a couple of examples which I would like to show you here. So when it comes to personal priorities, you have to set those priorities. Like small things matters a lot when it comes to sustainability. So like first example is stop using disposable items in your campus and embrace a minimalistic lifestyle. Go digital. Use cycles inside the campus. Maybe you can use less of heating and air conditioning in your campus, and you can promote recycling. So these are your personal things which you can set as a goal when you are in your campus. And when it comes to your campus, university campus, you can go for a energy efficiency audit with your friends and taking help of specialized people like Anuj and Sandeep are there, and do a comprehensive audit and study that where the issues are in energy consumption, and you can fix it. Then similarly, you can ask your management to switch to renewables and use the entire rooftop of the university or campus and put an agenda with your friends and your classmates for this. And apart from that, you can also work on organic waste converter within your campus, which converts entire food and canteen waste, which is generated, or a horticulture waste into your menu, which can be used in horticulture purpose. Similarly, there can be a lot of campus community gardens and nursery can be developed within a campus, which promotes planting new trees. So these are the kind of initiatives where active involvement of students can be there when it comes to promotion of sustainable initiatives within a campus. So Sandeep ji, you can add further.
I think आप ठीक कह रहे हैं सचिन जी. The whole idea is, देखिए इसमें क्या है, that Indian culture के अंदर we have been grown up with basic green nature. हमने आज तक कभी भी newspapers को डस्टबिन में नहीं फेंका. And we always collect the newspaper, we recycle the newspaper. The रूह अफ़ज़ा की bottles हमारे घर पे होती थी, कैंपा कोला की bottles इस जमाने में होती थी, वो हम हमेशा recycle करा करते थे. तो I think today technology थोड़ी बदल गई है. We are today using artificial intelligence. I use a lot of controls in home which are available on Amazon, if you ask me, which can switch on the light and switch off the light. जैसे लोग आएंगे, proximity sensors लग सकते हैं, bathrooms में लगा सकते हैं. आज आप अगर आप स्टूडेंट के लेवल पे बात करें, देखिए एक बात करें पूरे कैंपस की, कुछ चीजें आपके हाथ में भी नहीं है. When you work as students, where you talk about solar photovoltaic हो गया, या फिर आप solar hot water हो गया, वो कैंपस लेवल के ऊपर कुछ काम करने शायद आप लोगों के लिए भी इंडिविजुअली चैलेंजिंग होगा. बट इफ यू रियली टॉक अबाउट कंट्रीब्यूटिंग एट योर ओन, back at your home itself, I'll tell you, go to Amazon, buy a water saving fixture or aerator. It will cost you 200 rupees. Put it in your wash basin and you will be able to see कि आप कितना पानी बचा पा रहे हैं. Take a stopwatch, put a bucket, see in 1 minute how much water is flowing through a normal tap, और अगर आप aerator लगा देते हैं तो उससे कितना पानी आता है. दोनों चीजों में जब आप कंपेयर करेंगे, the experience of hand wash will not be very different. In fact, the satisfaction you will derive by putting a aerator wala fixture will be much better than actually flowing the water when you don't need that much of water. So देखिए, at the end of the day हम दो लेवल पे काम कर सकते हैं. आपके पेरेंट्स, आपकी कम्युनिटी ऑलरेडी एक ग्रीन प्रोसेस पे काम करती ही है. बट टुडेज जनरेशन इज वेरी टैंजिबल. हर चीज मेजर की जाती है. हर चीज को एक मेजरेबल इम्पैक्ट से देखने में हमें अलग किस्म की एक सेटिस्फैक्शन मिलती है. आप वाटर सेव कर सकते हैं. You are able to use technologies with which you can switch on and off your lights based on timer control, based on lux level controls, based on proximity sensors. You can use certain techniques within your household. For example, I'll give you a small example. Because you are students, you have to start practicing back at home. We collect all the split air conditioner ka pani because it is on the ceiling. We bring it down, एक bucket में store करके, उसके साथ हम लोग drip irrigation करके अपने waters को plant करते हैं. ये हो गई individual level की बातचीत. But if you want to do really campus level बातचीत, then you can go to a very big scale of using water efficient chillers. You can use HUs, you can use controls, you can use photovoltaics. These are all high end engineered stuff. But you can make दोनों की चीजों को अगर आप मिला करके सोचना शुरू करेंगे, sustainability के overall goals हम achieve कर पाएंगे.
Rightly mentioned by Mr. Sachin and Mr. Sandeep. I can say you have covered most of the points which we generally use in our green building certification. If we go for the IGBC green building certification, most of the points are similar to that. And I would like to add one point in that, as Mr. Sandeep mentioned, if we can measure it, we can manage it. So the measurable thing is very important. Either is a water, electricity, waste, anything. If you can measure it, we can manage it. Otherwise, it will not possible. So thank you so much. Let's take another question. Mr. Vishesh, are you available there? Vishesh, are you there?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, so I'm just giving Vishesh is also our green ambassador, as mentioned. It's from since 2 years. So Vishesh, do you have any question for our panelists?
Yes, sir. First of all, I might not be able to turn on my video camera as I'm facing some network issue.
No problem.
So basically, sir, I have mainly what I've looked into is like we know the success story of a sustainable or a green project. What I would love to know from the panelists would be, are there any projects which don't succeed? And what are the particular learnings or what were the drawbacks which we can derive from that experience or that project? If we can share something regarding.
Yeah, Sandeep.
If Mr. Sandeep, can you take up the question?
देखिए, जहां तक सवाल है not succeeding the system, I think a little bit mismanaged planning always leads to the slip. Because if you have to provide a certain design parameters and if your goals and objectives are clear, in my working, I have not seen any project not being successful. Yes, I do understand gold may not come, silver may come. Silver may not come, certification will come. But there is only a very, I would say that's just the benchmark of a certain criteria of certification not being achieved. I believe if you really look at the structure of rating system, अगर आप देखेंगे तो by and large आपका project day one पे certification को, because हमारी Indian culture design schemes में हम already इतने green हैं कि हम rain water harvesting करते हैं, हम reuse of sewage treatment plant करते हैं, हम already LED lights की तरफ as a community move कर गए हैं. Country के अंदर rules and regulations के अलावा I think हमारी खुद की exposure level इतना अच्छा है कि आज आपको अपने bathrooms के अंदर भी आप LEDs लगा रहे हैं बजाय कि एक 10 rupees का बल्ब लगाने के. तो मेरे ख्याल से by default you are able to achieve certification. Of course, for higher benchmarks you have to put more efforts. There have been situations where there are certain reasons जिसकी वजह से certification जो criteria था वो benchmark नहीं achieve हो पाया because of certain operational condition, space constraints, budget constraints. To some extent, kabhi-kabhi we are not able to buy the chiller of a COP which would require you for a certain, criteria to meet with. But by and large, in my experience, and Suresh sir can always vouch for it, as many projects come with sincerity to provide for the sustainability roadmap, I have seen immense success. And in fact, people who are aspiring for gold eventually have pushed to meet up with the platinum requirements as the design phase of the project has got evolved.
Rightly
So
mentioned.
Yeah, so
Yes,
to
Mr.
what
Sachin.
Sandeep is saying, so during my last, engagements with the corporate world, so I also benchmarked upon certain buildings which we were developing. So eventually what happened, we started with, silver rating of the buildings, that we will rate these buildings silver, and eventually when we start construction and development of those buildings, we thought that let's try and put more effort, and we migrated to gold even, and one of our head office building was rated as a platinum also. So once you start working on sustainable initiatives on a project, you actually try to do more, what you are planning to do. So eventually you end up doing more, and you end up taking more initiatives, which leads to better buildings and better operations, and better comfort to the people who work or stay in those buildings.
Perfect. Hope wishes these answers your question.
Yes, sir. Sir, just one continuation question. That would be, sir, if we change the certification from like gold to silver, maybe if we upgrade the project from a silver or maybe gold to a platinum building, what changes what changes happen with the actual project? Like what certification difference would create? What is the impact that is created upon the?
So Sandeep, I think you can answer this question very well.
Yes, Sachinji, although you can also do the same thing, but just to fill up the gap over there, I feel that during the roadmap of the design team becomes aware about the way the rating system is going to work around. देखिए, there is a very transparent way. हर criteria के अपना rating system set है. और जैसे जैसे आपका project, मान लीजिए, let's imagine that you are doing a greenfield project when there was no metro when you started with the project 3 years ago or 2 years ago. And as you start moving further, you realize that community connectivity is becoming easier over there. The government has started with photovoltaic subsidy as you are moving towards the project. You are able to acquire a certain place of land where you can put a solar farm as well. तो क्या होता है कि जैसे जैसे I have not seen projects getting to degrade their certification during the course of certification. They always aspire to go higher, in my experience.
Yes, correct.
As your aspirations grow, you'll always like to go from a smaller car to a bigger car. And with God be kind and everything goes well, you are able to scale up. And government is providing you systems and technologies as well, which are able to complement your desire. So generally, इसमें कोई ऐसा change नहीं होता. आप जब certification sign कर रहे होते हैं, उस time पे आप credits को देखते हैं, and hopefully कुछ limit के बाद आप देख सकते हैं कि आप additional technologies afford कर सकते हैं. जब आप उनको IGBC को present करते हैं, IGBC आपकी rating systems को evaluate करता है, और उसके basis के ऊपर आपको एक opportunity मिलती होती है enhanced certification पे जाने के लिए.
So just to give you a small example to clear your doubts, example है कि there is a rating system which says कि you should have a LED lights. That's one part of the lighting. Then you say that we will have a LED lights with the motion sensors. So it has additional points. That's how the rating system works, and that's how you upgrade yourself. So this is one small example which I have given. I think it is giving you a complete clarity that how the rating system works.
Exactly. So hope Vishesh, this is clear to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Perfect. So
thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Vishesh. So we have a more couple of questions which is related to it, like as Anshika and Adya asked, Vishesh also asked. So we will not take those questions, but yes, I have one question for Mr. Sachin, which I have received from the university and from Vishal Kumar Paswan from fourth semester. So he's asking, where do we stand in the sustainability compared to the other countries? So Mr. Sachin, I from the IGBC UP, that Western UP chapter. So I think you can be a good resource for this one. So can you?
Yes, yes, why not? I will be very glad to answer this question. This is a very interesting question which has been, put here. So there are sustainability development goals which are defined by United Nations, for major countries which are participating in these SDG goals. So based upon these SDG goals, the index for various countries is developed. So as of now, there are 3 countries who have a marks of more than 80, on the grade. These are Finland, Denmark, and Norway. So these countries are on the 3 top. India has a marks around 57 to 60. Last year, they have improved 3-4 more points. India is ranked at 60. But we are still at the bottom of the pyramids, because this whole ranking is related to 17 sustainable development goal, which we have to achieve. And the Niti Aayog in India is pushing this agenda with all the major stakeholders, which include municipal corporation, which include various government bodies, which include various planning authorities, and IGBC and other bodies are also putting a lot of effort in incorporating these SDG goals, so that the rating of India improves, as compared to other countries. So I hope this answers the clarity.
Right. And I'm adding one more point on this. Like, if anyone would like to check out the rating in our states, like in our India, which states stand in SDGs, what is the ranking, you can download that whole report from the Niti Aayog website, which is recently published for the 2021. And that will give you the whole idea of which states are ranking higher. All right. So let's move on to the next question. Next question I have for Mr. Sandeep, and this is related to the healthcare industry. So there's a person, Mr. Manish Kumar. He's asking how sustainability can be attained in the healthcare industry. So as Mr. Sandeep, you have a whole experience in the healthcare industry. If you can just give your ideas on this.
देखिए मनीष, ऐसा है कि हेल्थ केयर इंडस्ट्री एक बड़ी डिमांडिंग इंडस्ट्री है. आप हेल्थ केयर की बात करें या हॉस्पिटैलिटी की बात करें, you see, when we talk about sustainability, it always concerns 3 major things which I learned from Dr. Jain in the initial learnings of mine. It talks about planet, people, and profit. You see, where all the 3 things equally hold very important bearings. Here, when we talk about sustainability, there is no point of achieving sustainability when it is not able to provide you the human requirements to meet for. Sustainability could be walk to your work at a long distance and don't use your car. But then that does not yield the sustainability in the spirit of the human problems which might occur. What is the point of saving the water when you are not able to use it for the sanitation requirements? So there is no sustainability where human discomfort comes in. So people first is one of the biggest logo in building services community, where we said we are here to serve people first. Now, once we make sure that the people are served first, there are other objectives of planet and profit which should also simultaneously balance. So in the spirit of people, healthcare comes number 1, because patients are what we have to cater for. Now, if you talk about healthcare, Manish, तो आपको मैं बताता हूँ कि जहां तक हेल्थ केयर की एयर कंडीशनिंग का सवाल है, वो बड़ी स्पेसिफिक चाहिए होती है स्पेसिफिक जगहों के लिए. न्यूरो का अलग होगा, आपका मदर एंड चाइल्ड अलग होगा, कार्डियक अलग होगा, बर्न्स वार्ड अलग होगा, और आपका ऑन्कोलॉजी अलग होगा. हर एरियाज की सेट पैटर्न है टेम्परेचर और ह्यूमिडिटीज के, अगर आप हेल्थ केयर की बात करें. अब वहां पर आप सेविंग करें टेम्परेचर्स और ह्यूमिडिटीज को कॉम्प्रोमाइज करके, तो यू आर एक्चुअली क्रिएटिंग प्रॉब्लम्स फॉर द रिकवरी ऑफ द पीपल. But the only way you can actually attain sustainability in healthcare is by good controls. That means you are able to provide controls which are able to automatically adjust the parameters of operations without compromising the results which will come out of those parameters. Therefore, you can have chill water controls, you can have AHUs controls, you can have thermostat controls. You can also do preventive maintenance by checking कि आपका filter गंदा हो गया है, तो आपके फिल्टर को प्रेशर ड्रॉप होने की वजह से पावर ज्यादा लग रही है, तो आजकल आप बल्कि घर पे भी देखते होंगे स्प्लिट एसी के अंदर एक छोटी सी लाइट जल जाती है इफ योर स्प्लिट एसी का फिल्टर इज डर्टी. सो बाय प्रोवाइडिंग कंट्रोल्स एंड मॉनिटरिंग, you are able to optimize the functions of the system, and that holds good when you are talking about photovoltaics, You can provide photovoltaics in healthcare. You can do solid waste management very efficiently. You can do also take care of water pollution in healthcare. You can provide for water conservation in healthcare. You can provide lighting of the right type in the healthcare. But operation theater के अंदर whatever light and lux levels are required, sustainability के तौर पे उस parameters को compromise नहीं किया जा सकता. But of course, जब उस area में spaces में load नहीं है, तो उन lights को switch off किया जा सकता है. तो healthcare, like any other utility, requires very specialized operations. A good control mechanism under various functions can save power. It can provide lesser, it will impact lesser carbon footprint onto the operations. It can save water. So there has to be a smart control and mechanism with which you can also do preventive maintenance so that you can check the parameters of the equipments which are performing. So you have to be very smart in putting the right controls so that you are able to still meet with your functional requirements.
Rightly mentioned, आपने like संदीप जी के द्वारा बिल्कुल सही like किया बताया गया है कि control is very important. If you are not able to control, that lot of wastage can happen, and that we can do in the healthcare industry also. So same question Sumit Bharadwaj ने भी पूछा था, तो I think Sumit, this is clear to you, like the how sustainability can be attained in the healthcare industry. Perfect. So let's move on to the next question. Next question I have for Mr. Sachin. So Sachin जी आपके लिए क्वेश्चन है, what is important, increasing people's standard of living or protecting the environment? आपको क्या लगता है कि people
this is very interesting. Yeah, this is very interesting question. Since India has 35 states and population below poverty is still under 22%. हमारे पास जो 22% लोग हैं poverty में रह रहे हैं अभी. So what I will say that increasing everyone's standard of living is much more important. Only when the people have an increased standard of living, then they are able to do things in a perfect way, which doesn't damage environment. So that's my take on this. Let's take a couple of examples, which are very generic. अभी गवर्नमेंट ने उज्ज्वला स्कीम लॉन्च की थी जिसमें सबको सिलेंडर्स दे रही है सरकार at a very subsidized rates पे, and it was a very huge success scheme of government of India. And but उसका outcome क्या हुआ? The firewood was being discouraged by a lot of women, household women which were earlier cooking food by the firewood से कितना नुकसान, पेड़ कट रहे थे, धुआं हो रहा था, pollution हो रहा था. So this solar lamps rural areas में बांटे गए हैं across India, where the power outages were there. Earlier, what was being used? Kerosene oil was being used, So there are a lot of initiatives like this which has been taken, where we can say that yes, standard of living, if it's improved, then protection of environment becomes more prudent, So let me give you two more examples to get absolute clarity on this subject. Let's take an example of, Canada. Standard of living is often a measure of how much consumption and waste is coming, So it doesn't necessarily reflect that the quality of life which a person is living is, a parameter of कि भैया environment भी अच्छा होगा. तो कनाडा में एक स्टैंडर्ड का आदमी दूसरे स्टैंडर्ड का आदमी एक जगह रहते हैं दोनों, बट अगर उनकी कंजम्पशन देखोगे, उनका कार्बन फुटप्रिंट देखोगे, इट इज डिफरेंट. I will have a more carbon footprint as compared to Anuj or Sandeep. So it is a very different subject where you have to address it in a very different way, keeping in view the countries, So Delhi में देखिए आपको कितने lockdowns हुए हैं 2 साल पहले only due to this, issue of smog, but there are various kind of people living in cities, so everybody has to contribute to make air clean, So this is very subjective question which has been asked, but what I feel is that if we improve standard of living of people, then it will have a very positive impact on the environment. Sandeep can add further.
Yes, Sachin, I think you can't really weigh the two things. How could you improve the standard of living by making the planet not go good? So we have to make sure that we have to, now today electric cars are coming. We are talking about technology. Yes. So I think the better the standard of living, the better you are able to protect your environment.
True. That's a very valid point. Like if we are not able to make a good standard of living, we cannot protect, because that it's a connected, like both the things are connected. So that's my take also. So Sandeep ji, next question is coming to you, as we have received it's a multiple people, we have received the same questions. What are the some ways that we can opt to reduce the pollution in Mathura region, as we have a university, the Sanskriti University in Mathura region, and people are asking how we can reduce the pollution. So what is your take on this?
देखिए मथुरा के बारे में I would imagine that most of the problems would be facing with air pollution. It may be in that aspect.
Right.
Government is doing a lot of efforts at the regional level for the Mathura city. I will not be able to really, this is, I think policy related matter. What could you do for a given region? So my knowledge on that subject is not very apt, Anuj, because it's a policy matter. What should be done at a regional level to control the pollution part in Mathura? All we can work around is the basic way in which we can talk about campus green, the campus sustainability. But going into the threadbare of Mathura, I think Sachin ji will be able to tell better.
Yeah. So I did a chance to, I did a chance to go through the master plan of Mathura, and what is the government visions for Mathura, that's very interesting. So government of Uttar Pradesh want to develop it as a tourism, corridor with the Mathura, Vrindavan and all the areas, So usually, tourists will only come to those places which are good, from environment perspective. They have a good health and hygiene standards, air quality is good and no pollution is there. So that's the whole vision of government. But Mathura has been facing a lot of problems in terms of air pollution, as rightly said by Sandeep. So there are more than 350 brick kiln operations still there, in Mathura. जो ईंट के भट्टे होते हैं that are surrounded around Mathura. So in fact जो AQI है वहाँ का वो 400 क्रॉस कर जाता है कई बार. I think if students can join hands to talk this as an agenda with the authorities there, that can make a lot of difference. And I still remember 4 years back I went to Gokul Barrage with some of the water specialists who has come from Singapore, and they were working with us. I saw a bubbling thick foam and water being discharged without treatment into that barrage. So those are the areas I think which need to be addressed. So I went through one of the documents of Uttar Pradesh government where they have envisaged a great vision for Mathura city, including Vrindavan corridor, where they have talked about initiatives right from handling the municipal solid waste, which is also a major reason of pollution, and treating all the drains and nalas which are directly going into Yamuna because it is next to Yamuna. So these are the major initiatives which government has talked about.
All right. Sachin ji, in addition to मेरा इसी से एक मतलब ऐड करते हुए क्वेश्चन जो स्टूडेंट्स ने पूछा है कि how we can aware the people also within the Mathura region about this thing.
So this is a very interesting, So this is a very interesting thing, Social media is a big thing these days, and all our students are very active on social media. So there can be a lot of initiatives which we can conduct, as a students when it comes to creating awareness. There can be a rally or a march by students. There can be a conference focusing on these issues where major stakeholders of the city, whether it is a planning authority, municipal corporation, or major engineering bodies are there, unke representatives who lake we can have a joint session, And then apart from that, students can also contact the elected officials. They will be more than happy to meet young students and take their ideas. Apart from that, if they can create short videos and blogs on the major issues and put it on social media like Facebook, Insta, and LinkedIn, other platforms are there, that can make a lot of difference, because that has a very high visibility and very long and extensive outreach. I feel that these are the major initiatives which students can take to make people aware of the pollution issues.
Perfect, rightly mentioned. And I request all the people who are right now in the attendees, if you are part of this session, you can also be a part of this awareness session. Just take out a snapshot of this session and put on the LinkedIn, and put your whatever you have learned today. You can put on the LinkedIn or the other social media platform. You can tag PJMT and me, Sachin ji, Sandeep ji, Suresh ji, and Payal ji also on the social media platform, so that we can also share in our connection. So if you are, if you
No,
want
just
to,
one good question: how artificial intelligence can be helping us to achieve sustainability?
yes, yes. So that's the next question I would like to ask you only. So, so you, if you can take up this question, the artificial intelligence one.
You see, artificial intelligence is basically preventive, keeping a tag of things. And today, computers are able to use the YOY estimates means of the energy which is being consumed in the building. When I say YOY means year on year. So what is the kind of energy which I was consuming, last year in the same quarter, previously to that? So we are able to actually understand that what is the kind of patterns which systems are following. I will be able to then ascertain that if I use more technologies, I will be able to still bring down my energy consumption parameters. So what happens in artificial intelligence is that it is able to gauge that if the pressure drop in the system is becoming higher, that means the corrosion in the pipeline is building up. So you need to do certain formulations with which you have to remove the corrosion, so your pressure drop becomes more manageable as was designed in the initial phase of the building. So it basically does a diagnostics check to the operations of the systems which are happening today. You can use light sensors to check. Today we do dialects. We do technologies with which I can see how many lights I require within the given room. If it is a banquet hall, it is a meeting room, it is a library. What is the kind of lighting which I need? I can put it onto the computers. I can provide the number of lights which are neither less nor more, the optimized requirement. So modeling is another word. Artificial intelligence is another word, where we use technologies to create a kind of a simulation to check the performance. And with that, I think it is very exciting for students like you कि आप लोग इसको एक तरह का करियर भी ले सकते हैं, जहां पर आप बिल्डिंग मॉडलिंग एक्सपर्ट्स बन सकते हैं. बिल्डिंग बनने के बाद 3 साल बाद जब उसमें लोग आ जाएंगे, वो कितनी एनर्जी कंज्यूम करेगी, इसको आप आज ही कंप्यूटर मॉडल पे आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस यूज करके असर्टेन करके उसके पैरामीटर्स को ट्वीक कर सकते हैं, ताकि आपकी परफॉर्मेंस डिजाइन के टाइम पे ही बेटर हो जाए और ऑपरेशंस एफिशिएंसी से उसकी और बेहतर एनर्जी कंजम्पशन पैटर्न्स रिड्यूस हो जाए.
Really mentioned. I think so. This question was asked by the Harsh Mahajan. Hope that this is clear to you, Harsh. All right. So I have a next question from Aditya Upadhyay from BTech second semester. So this question from Mr. Sachin. Sachin ji, can you explain like how will the industries adopt sustainable solution? Like apart from the buildings, how the industries also can adopt a sustainable solution? What are the ways?
Yeah. So, Anuj, what is happening? There are 5 key trends which are these days being followed by industries when it comes to sustainability on a macro scale. On a micro scale, a lot of initiatives are being taken, but I will talk 5 major initiatives which big industries are taking. The first initiative, the first trend is that they are going for a hybrid model. So hybrid means that they are going for solar, they are going for wind, apart from the traditional grid power which is coming to them. And a lot of focus is happening on storage also. The whole idea is to use a renewable in the industries. Currently, we are using more of a coal-fired power, which is not good for us. A lot of coal is being burned, which leaves a large footprint on us. So that is the whole idea of using solar, wind, and combined with the storage facilities for industries. The second thing, the second trend which is moving in a big way in industry is a big focus on decarbonization, that the dependence on oil and gas also is being reduced. So we are moving more to renewables. The dependence on oil is tremendously reducing. As Sandeep said, that electric cars are coming. In the same way, industries are moving away from the traditional sources where oil was being burnt. So third important aspect and third important trend which is coming is there is a huge amount of digital technology and AI which is being built to develop factories and to run it. So one of the classic example which I want to mention is two-wheelers. So this factory was developed in a record time of 12 months, and this will be producing 10 million scooters in a year, and in every 2 seconds, one scooter will be developed. So this has been only possible by use of technology and innovation. The fourth trend, which is being extensively used in industry, is huge focus on water recycling. So not even a drop of water is being wasted now. It is being recycled, reused, again recycled, then reused. So water is going to be the next, area where there is going to be a huge focus on industries. The fifth trend, which is making huge impact on industry, is they are trying to use alternate products now. Like there are plastic roads which are being developed in the land rather than bitumen and cement roads, So there is a huge trend on identifying the alternate product, doing innovation, doing R&D for alternate products, and then those are being used in industries. So Sandeep can add further in these trends and elaborate more.
I think you are absolutely right, Sachinji. Industries also have one habit, I should tell you. They compete with their other units. Industry which is operating in Hyderabad competes with an industry which is operating in Jaipur. So I think there is a very positive spirit to compete the data of its operations. And water, as you rightly said, I think to say so, there are so many things, including solid waste management. Today, people are giving so much of focus. How they are using, when we were working with one of the IT companies, they realized the kind of solid waste which gets produced only for the people who are using pizzas within the organization is so huge that is impacting the environment. So they changed the strategy of the packing box of the pizza itself. So solid waste, learning from experiences, gives a lot of opportunities to improvise our deliveries and to get better planet-related opportunities.
Correct, absolutely correct.
Rightly mentioned. Thank you so much for taking up this question. So we will take a last question because we have a short of time. So there's a question like how to develop environmental indicators that farmers can practically use to access the benefits of reducing nitrogen fertilization. So if anyone from the panelists, if you can take this question.
Yeah, so can you repeat the question please again?
Yeah, how to develop environmental indicators that farmers can access, practically use to access the benefits of reducing nitrogen fertilization. So the person is asking reducing the nitrogen fertilization.
Okay, so by background, my family has been in farming, so I have some idea and some sense of this question. So usually what happens over a period of time, the soil get degraded due to various reasons. So reason may be that we have been using excessive fertilizers and we have not been taking care of the soil. There has been some pollutant which has entered into the soil. There are various reasons. That's why nutrients are required for specific plants. So now when it comes to use of nutrients or fertilizers, artificial fertilizers, we have to look at two parts. One is that can we avoid it or it has to be used. So if it has to be used in a certain dosage which is defined for a different type of crops. We cannot overuse it just to ensure कि मेरे को अच्छी फसल मिल जाए, मैं overdose कर लूँ उसकी, तो वो नहीं करना पड़ता है. तो अगर हमने avoid करना है, now India has a large variety of organic, I will say, fertilizers which can be used, which are neem based, which are totally organic. Like we have a couple of fertilizers available which has a coco peat and neem combination. They are able to retain a humidity in the soil also, and they are able to work as a fertilizer also. Similarly, people have innovated a lot by using a cow dung also as a fertilizer. And these municipal corporations which are operating across India who manage solid waste plants, the entire waste which is coming out, organic waste which is coming out of it is being used as a nutrient fertilizer, as a compost in various horticulture purposes, and even farmers are buying it. One of the examples which I have seen personally, I would like to mention here is, which I have also initiated in my previous company. I was working for a company called Bajaj Hindustan in 2010. They are the largest sugar producers in Uttar Pradesh. And at that time, the sugarcane is crushed. And when the sugarcane is crushed, so there are various byproducts which comes out of it. One is bagasse, one is after bagasse, lot of material is left out in a form of sludge. That sludge has a very high nitrogen value. Actually, farmers come to the factories, take that sludge into the tankers and spread it across the fields. And Anuj, would you believe that that works as a perfect fertilizer, organic fertilizer for any farmer? And there is no requirement to put the artificial fertilizers in the crops. So these are kind of initiatives.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's a very great technique that they have used. Very nice. Like, good to know about this. So let's move on to our next part. I would like to, from both the panelists, Sandeep ji, would you like to share any message to all the students who have joined today? Any message to all the students for the sustainability and what they can do?
Sir, I would only say over here, Anuj ji, that a lot of times, I get to know what kind of pollution is very bad for us. So I always say that, pollution has different impacts on different age group. If you talk about children, water pollution creates the biggest problem. You talk about students, which all of them are listening, noise pollution creates a lot of problem. You're not able to focus on your studies. If you talk about grown-up adults, air pollution creates a lot of problem because of the lung infection. So I only say that to my young students that first use technology in your working, whether it is, make it part of your lifestyle. Because technology could be documenting the things, understanding the things which we have performed, measuring the things by technology. And I think today India is also one of the most technological advanced to adopt technologies at the soonest in the COVID times. The most important, which I always believe, and I have learned from Dr. Jain always, that very important for you to remain with commitment, passion, and awareness. I take this message of his always to our lives very seriously. Fortunately, with his blessings, we run our own organization, whom he was very instrumental in inspiring that we should bring up more glory to the life of people who work. Most of you students will meet up us in some time of life. Hopefully, some may work with us, some may work with us, and some may, we have opportunities to interact. So keep your commitment level very, very high and keep your awareness level and your passion. I think if these components go very well, India would be a leader in green, as I had Dr. Jain always dreamt of, and keep your always a vision to do the best of what you have already done. Keep the technology to the highest, and I think respect for the environment and your commitment will be the best way you can keep learning, and in fact keep teaching some of the colleagues like us who are known to be seniors, but we feel very thrilled when students come back to us with their thesis. It's so much of hard work which they put in. So keep educating us, keep educating yourself. I think that's my communication, Anuj.
Very, very nice message. I think whoever listening to us, please implement these things, whatever Mr. Sandeep has mentioned. So that is please make sustainability a part of your life. So that's how we will go together. So Sachin-ji, any message from your end?
Yeah. So I still remember, Dr. Jain, he used to say always, in all the forums that sustainability starts from your action, your personal action, what you do, what footprint you are leaving, as a person, as an individual. Because we keep on talking that this is not my domain. This is pollution control board. This is that. No, it doesn't work like that. It is you as an individual that what impact you are making on the society, in your environment, that makes a difference. And that is called attitude, The countries who have actually changed a lot in terms of getting a carbon footprint right, the culture, plays a very, very important role. That's what we need to develop, and that can be only developed once these youngsters, who are tomorrow's managers, engineers, architects, once they say that, no, I am the person who is responsible. And then when that culture is coming, then there will be a different shift altogether in the approach towards sustainability, environment, and green buildings. That's my take on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sachin-ji. It's a very nice message for all our students and the participants. Thank you so much. So I think we have Mr. Vishesh is there, our green ambassador. Vishesh, I would like to invite you because can you please highlight or share what you have done in the PGMT Green Gurukul and what was your role there and your experience. Vishesh, are you there?
Hello, sir. So,
Yeah, Vishesh.
first of all, thank you so much, Anand sir, Sachin sir, Sandeep sir. It was really informative, like a session, and we have gathered a lot of information. We'll be try to imply most of it. So basically, considering the Green GA program at PGMT, it has been running for maybe 2 or 3 years now. I've been part of PGMT for the last 2 years. Earlier, I joined as a Green Ambassador. We were a team of 5 students. And later on, we have now extended to a team of 15 students, 15 student volunteers who are we are working together to achieve the goal, like what Prem Jain sir had said. We need India to be the leading country, like the foremost country to be in the field of sustainability in whatever manner we can. So PGMT is initiating this program with the students. We are working together on projects, or the projects that we have worked upon include would be, first of all, we started with the logo design program. That was the initial program for PGMT. Then we moved on to different competitions, student level competitions, campaigns, and many more interactive sessions with the school, college level interactions, and also conducting like Green Gurukul and these sessions. For this, we are inviting more and more students to join this initiative so that we can spread awareness about the topic and can make more people aware about what sustainability actually means, and how as students will be able to achieve it. So probably this would be a good platform to invite more students and like great thinkers who can join us and move towards this initiative.
That's amazing, Vishesh. Like I request all the students, whoever just listen to Vishesh, if they are interested to be a part of the Green Ambassador, they can reach out to the PGMT team and you can register yourself. Perfect. So I request Miss Payal Jan for a concluding remarks and the vote of thanks. Payalji, are you there? All right. So I before ending also, like I would like to take a message from the Suresh sir. Suresh sir, can you just share a message for our students? Any message from?
It has been a very interesting session, and I'm very happy to see the nature of questions and the wonderful response given by both my good friends Sandeep ji as well as Sachin ji, and they all given such beautiful response on that. And your own 3 questions that you have raised on the need for sustainability to be made as an important aspect, whether we should make compulsory renewable energy related issue, you didn't raise on that to make it as a wonderful thing. I think the more important thing is the message that has to go to all the students. It has got to be the only way we can. There's the TINA factor comes. There's no alternative. If you want to really have development to go forward in a positive way, and all the citizens, and as he rightly said, Sandeep said, and the whole thing is planet. Planet is the most important. If that planet is not there, all of the things will not come. Planet, then the people will be able to take care of the people, and the planet together will have to work together in a way by which you should be able to get the right environment on that. If you can't take care of the water issues properly, energy issues properly, waste management issues properly, all the issues related to the environmental concerns, be it on land, air, and water, not properly. Besides saving of all the natural resources, you cannot have a planet, and you can't have, otherwise you would get destruction coming all over. The climate change is a very major issue that's already started its impact. You already saw in the whole Uttarakhand area, the glaciers coming out. You are seeing in the Antarctica and Arctic, the way in which the glaciers are already started melting. So the very major thing to bring down the increase in climate, global warming from 2 degrees down to 1.5 degrees, and efforts are all going on. So all these are the larger agenda to which we deal with the issues of sustainable development goal to the 2030, and that's 9 more years only, not too much. And the 2050, the net zero climate. On that, rightly or wrongly, because questions were not there. We didn't have any question on that. That's going to be the next major thing coming. Sustainable Development Goal plus is going to be net zero water, net zero energy, net zero waste, and net zero carbon. That's what will go from 2030 down to 2050. If you have to achieve that particular thing to bring down. Embodied energy of building material has not been done. We have all been working only on the operational energy, namely how much water you can, how much energy you can save, how much water you can save. That's all in the operational one. But we are not got into what are the building materials and what are all the embodied energy for not only all the building materials that go into the structural system, non-structural system, finisher system, and more importantly, all the MEP services. I did not know till day before yesterday that even in the MEP services, a major amount of embodied energy comes, not the operational aspect of that, each one of them over there. So major efforts are already going on all over the world to deal with that. And maybe if you know that this is already now the major theme area, now that we are addressing the young students there, the Architects Association of United States of America, they already brought out a 2030 document on what changes need to be done in the planning, design, and construction than what they have been doing all this time, and how they should get cope up dealing with that. Similarly, the Institution of Structural Engineers have got a document of 2050, and what are the things that you do in terms of all the material, the steel, the cement, concrete, other materials that go into the whole system of the buildings, and how do you really bring carbon footprint reduction? Carbon footprint reduction comes in operational energy, embodied energy, and also a combination of both these particular one. So that's going to be the next major thrust area. And I'm happy that today's discussion is on sustainability. That's the basic level. So on the basic level, you can't have a questioning attitude on that. And it has got to be done to ensure that all these elements are introduced. Green building rating is one way by which you can do on that. I was very happy to see the very interesting questions the students have asked, both Sandeep and Sanjeev and Sanjay, sorry. And I'm sure with the exposure that's given to the young minds, igniting their minds, it will open up their whole idea. And one message I want to give, the last message, is the issue on how this will become mainstream. I told you the building code already has the chapter on that's a regulatory framework. Many states are already adopting that. Green incentives are being made available for going. One is to use a carrot and a stick approach. Carrot, a stick to take a regulation to do. Ye to karna hi hai. Israel has already done compulsory the whole issue of, and like that many other states, Germany, of the solar power utilization has already been done. And we got to bring down our energy from the energy use from the conventional energy using fossil fuel energy, which is all having major amount of carbon footprint impact, to renewable to come over. I said we are just about 84 gigawatt. It's going to be 170 gigawatt by maybe end of next year. It will be around 400 gigawatt of solar energy. Gigawatt, you can just see that's the type of input. How will it happen? Unless each one of residences, in your hotels, in your hospitals, in your all your other work. I'm a member of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. The EIA clearance comes to the committee every month. About 30 odd projects come. We have made it absolutely compulsory beyond the energy conservation building code that minimum 10% of the energy has got to be using solar. ECBC has 1%, 2%. That's all nothing. You're just not going to get anywhere with all that particular. That's all tokenism. If you really want to make an impact towards what we have in the next 7 years' time, and by 2050, whatever, these youngsters would be by the time maybe around 45 years or something like 2050 I'm talking about. But we got to get all those actions coming now. So therefore, I'm very happy that these exposures it will become part of the curriculum next. As I told you, I had a good discussion on this with the chairman of the All India Council of Technical Education, Dr. Sahasrabudhe, who was also in the morning program with me in the Bangalore event, and also with the president of the Council of Architecture. Architectural syllabus and engineering syllabus will get completely changed with the green agenda, and we already are doing that. So I'm very happy that these youngsters who have raised all the intelligent questions rightly, they'll be very happy that now it will become part of the framework. It will now become part of the mainstream agenda. Then we'll start getting into the practice over there. At present, if it is only a 5% impact, I'm sure in the next about few years' time, you might get a 30% impact in this connection in terms of going sustainable. Then with the architects, the engineers, the planners, the MEP engineers, the builders, developers, all are going to put their act together. And of course, the agencies like a municipal corporation or development authority, environment control agency, all can do that particular thing from the point of regulation. But I think it will happen and they are done well. And I think my positive message is you're on the right track. And the only way to go forward is the green way and sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a very great message for all the students. And you rightly mentioned it's a time of the action. And it's a decade of action. I must say it's a decade of action. We have it's the decade we have to do. We have to put an action. We regularly talk, but we have to implement it also. So that's a time. So before come to the close of the session, I have one question for all the people who have joined. How was the session? Just put powerful in the chat box if you think the session was powerful. If you think the session was powerful, just put the powerful in the chat box. I request all the attendees, if you think session was powerful with great interaction of the Q&A and with the discussion with our panelists. So thank you, Sujit. I will appreciate all the people who say powerful. Thank you, Sujit. Thank you, Adya, Harsh, Shikha, Balaji. Just put powerful in the chat box. Mevara, Vishesh, Bhagel, thank you. Impactful, we should. Okay, very nice. So thank you so much, sir. It's very impactful session.
You should give them an opportunity to say, Anuj, do better next time as well to us.
Thank you. So Rohit is also being powerful. Very nice. So I request Miss Payal, are you there? All right. I think so. All right. So I am here for a vote of thanks. I am just concluding remarks. So I thank all the people, especially our panelists, Mr. Sandeep and Sachin for taking all the questions. It was a very interactive session. And thank you so much, Mr. Suresh, for joining us at very short time. And thank you for a whole sessions you present. It's very important for us. Thank you so much, Miss Payal Jain, for organizing this and giving me that opportunity for the anchoring, the hosting this session. And a special thanks to from the university side, Dr. Rana. Thank you so much, sir, for your presence and your support for organizing this session. Mr. Vincent, Professor Shikha from the university side. Thank you so much for supporting on organizing this session. My Green Ambassador, the PGMT Green Ambassador, Vishesh, Adya, and Anshika. Thank you so much, guys, for joining this session and taking your question. And the backend team from the PGMT backend team, Mr. Yatenji is there and other team members who supported very well for organizing this session. Thank you so much, everyone. So I'm sharing the poll question also, we put some poll. So I'm,
the replies have come already. It's good. 98%.
Yes.
Can I see this fine? How does the results come live? You just showed the results now.
Yeah, I think so. We did this poll earlier also. So I think I've ended this one. The ends this at so
98% yes and 2% no. I could just see that.
Okay. Right. So most of the questions are somewhat strongly agree and somewhat agree. We are getting the responses. Thank you so much for participating.
There you are. It's 100.
Yes,
they got strongly agree. Wonderful display going on.
Great. So
we got to thank you, Anuj. You did a good job.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I'm happy.
You're thanking everybody. We should also convey our appreciation. You did a good job in moderating the session. Very interestingly. Good.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you all our beautiful audience who joined us today, all the students, the faculties from different parts of the country. Thank you so much. So we are signing off and we will come back soon with the next episode of a PGMT Green Gurukul. Till then,
Sandeep, Sachin, bye. We'll talk.
Thank you, Anuj. Thank you, Suresh Saab.
Thank you, Suresh ji. Thank you, Sandeep.
Hello, again. While you got to talk of a minute or something. She has been calling you for 3 times.
Sorry?
I think Anuj has been wanting you to speak a few words.
Oh, has he? No, there's nothing left to say, Suresh ji. Anuj has done a great job and thank you for staying on. It was a very, very wonderful session. I was listening throughout. Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you, Sachin. Thank you, Dr. Rana. Thank you. And thanks
everyone.
to the PGMT team also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.